Hey there, Mom. What you got in your hands?
Well, I have the latest. I enjoy this type of pen. It's filigree, quite old, and I think charming. So I bought those.
I wonder how old they are. What do you think?
Hoping Tammy would enjoy these, and then later maybe pass on to the girls.
Yeah, I'll see those up closer.
Okay.
See what they look like. About how old do you think those are? Probably the 20s or
I
older?
would say in the 20s.
I would guess. Yeah, they have
It
one
could
has
even-
one diamond and
Well, these are so small, but they are diamonds.
and then there's 4 on that other one. So we're gonna take that back to Fredericksburg.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the other.
On that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're neat.
Take them back to Fredericksburg. It's
Absolutely.
something for Tammy now, and the girls later. They will enjoy it, or at least they would keep them because their mother and grandmother had them.
I think so. So I said since we were getting ready to head back to Fredericksburg, we filmed all day yesterday and discussed everything under the sun just about. But that tape might not be ready for another tape. That's an old-timey word. But that video might not be ready for another month or so to see any of that. So I thought we'd get a few parting just words of wisdom. What would you tell somebody what would be your best advice to somebody in their 20s or 30s? Looking back on life, what would you tell somebody in their 20s or 30s to do or not do? Like as far as getting married, their jobs, just anything.
At their age?
At 20s or 30s, yeah.
Oh, my.
So I know you're going to say don't get married.
I would recommend that they not marry much before 30. For one thing, they have no clue what life's all about.
Right.
And even when you're 30, you have no clue.
Right.
Because there's conditions.
Right.
But to be safer and be wiser from old age and my observing over the years, a young married person can stay married to the same man, but they might feel like they have made a bad mistake.
Missed out or something?
And yes, that it just didn't work out. But they stay because if they stay too long, there's too many reasons that you can't leave.
Complicating factors, right?
Complications.
Like kids, I guess, do, right?
Well, we call it baggage.
That's right.
Too much baggage.
Well, what about having kids? You had a kid at 19?
Yes. And now he's 70 this next month. And I think, oh no, I didn't. That's not right. That couldn't be right.
I can't have a kid who's 70.
Yes, I had one. I married at barely 18. But that's what you did then.
Yeah.
You married, you had children, you stayed home and you cooked and kept the fires burning.
Yeah.
But life isn't like that anymore. And you need a few more years. I would prefer it. A few more years of maturity before you decide who you're going to marry.
Because it's a big choice to make.
Oh, it's a lifetime. It should be.
It should be.
It should be a lifetime. And you don't know to look at life that way at 18.
No. You married at 18?
I married at 18, had a child at 19.
At 19 and one at 21, 22.
And one
at 38. That was me, yeah.
Yes. Well, I won't tell you my saying on that one. But I have one.
I imagine, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where, when should you have kids, too? Because you've done it at 19, 22, and 38. That's very
That's
different.
what you did.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you did. You had one every 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, I was 3.5 years before Gary was born, and those boys were something else. When they got to be teenagers, James and I were still young, but we decided we didn't want any more kids because they are 2 boys, they're a full-time job.
I tell people all the time, one of my favorite sayings of yours is, if you have kids and you raise kids, you're going to know you did it. Meaning, you're not going to get away with it. If you've raised some kids, you're going to know it.
Well, when Gary was 18 months old, he would take a broom handle as you went outdoors and Jimmy unhooked a lock and got on the ladder and went up and got on the house and ran up and down it at 18 months. That will turn your hair gray early.
And you were only 22, 23 at the time.
That's exactly right. Didn't know how to even handle what and he would go down to the highway. He was I had running away kids.
Oh, goodness. You already had a tough enough time getting married. I always tell people you had to move on a bicycle, didn't you? That's how much stuff you had. People can't imagine.
Well, I put it in a paper bag, and a big paper bag, and rode the bicycle. But everyone said, well, what kind of bicycle? I can't understand that. And I said, well, it was my bicycle.
Did it have 2 seats?
No, he had to stand up and pump.
So you were sitting on the seat and he was standing up and pumping.
Some people had me on the handlebars, so I didn't get on the handlebars.
I'm sure we couldn't figure out how you were doing 2 people on a bike, but he just stood up and pumped.
Pump. Listen, that was around the courthouse square.
Yeah.
And I wish I had a picture of it all.
Can you imagine the days though that to move on a bicycle is pretty funny? I can't even begin to imagine that.
Well,
they were different times.
They didn't marry. See, this is it. I was ready to leave home. Mother was ready for us to leave home. So the world was different.
And y'all were moving into a nice house, right? A fancy house of your own?
Oh no.
You were moving into Dad's house.
We moved into my husband's dad's home with his sister, who was already in the home, and but we made out. She was a good Joe.
Yeah.
But everything was funny with me at 18. I was a little baby girl, literally, in the world, in this big, strange world.
Yeah, growing up, right, getting married.
Yeah, I was getting married, and I got one.
Living in a house with wind coming through the boards, no insulation.
Oh, it was it had a dog trot, a dog trot. The bedrooms are on one side, and the kitchen is on the other side, and there's a breezeway that goes to the well.
Yeah.
And I'll have to tell you one of these days about the well, but not today.
Yeah, and this is the house though where you had the rooster that you didn't get along with.
Oh yeah, well, he would run at me and peck at me, and then I was gonna get back, so I'd scratch the screen, and he would flog that screen trying to get to me. And I said, James, I can't even go down the highway and get the mail. And he said, well, I'll take care of that. He went and got his shotgun and killed that rooster. And Papa said, oh my, he's killed my best chicken.
And did y'all eat him?
We ate him, but he was tough as wet leather.
So he got the last laugh, I guess.
He got the last laugh. And Papa was eating it and saying it was his best chicken.
It was his best rooster ever. You was eating him, but I bet he ate him anyway.
He did. Well, that's when we had nothing, and it didn't matter. But
because nobody else had anything either.
No one had very much. Most of them had jobs.
Yeah.
James, when he first went to work, it was $1 an hour.
Yeah.
And doing good to get that.
Yep.
And it would rent an apartment if you were real careful. And he took that bicycle that I owned at the time. I don't know how I owned it, but I did. And he would ride to work. We later had an apartment kind of in the country, and he would ride that bicycle to work.
Yeah.
And home.
Where was he working?
Well, he was working for a body shop at the time. He sanded cars.
Yeah.
And painted cars and all that.
Did like a lot of people back then did a little whatever over the years you could do.
Did whatever. He didn't work at McDonald's. They didn't have one.
He might have if they had a McDonald's, right?
He might have been willing to, but Dairy Queen was the first. And if we could even afford to go to Dairy Queen, that was a wonderful thing. But this is in the 40s. There was no one that had any money.
No one around that you would have known.
That I would have
I'm sure
known.
somebody somewhere, but nobody you would have known had any money.
I had no contact with anybody that had anything more than we had.
That's right. So you played games and played cards and got together and
We
did other
did as
things.
a family because that was all that we could do. We didn't have TV.
Yeah.
And the boys and kids played with one another. That's just the way it was. We didn't live on a farm, so we didn't have farm food, which would have been good. Fresh vegetables and things.
Yeah.
But Papa did. But Papa was getting old and didn't farm as much. Robert did. We ate his tomatoes, and they were out of this world. So much better than tomatoes today.
Really?
Oh, man.
I've heard that.
Oh, it's the truth. There's no different. You can't even compare it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that stinks, but I guess we make up for it in other conveniences, huh? The bad tomatoes we get.
Yeah. I said from now, I thought I never would get a washing machine, and when I did, it was a ringer type, and a splash like this, and we had to put it out on an ice-covered lines outside, and they froze, and you froze getting them in and putting them out, either one.
That doesn't sound too good.
Life was hard. We made it because we didn't have a choice.
Yeah. You get through whatever you got to get through, don't
And you couldn't go back home because it was as bad there as it was where I was.
Where you were coming from.
Yeah, that wasn't what you did.
I know. And how long did y'all live with Papa before you got your own place?
I don't remember, but
A year or two?
I was really with not so much Papa,
His door.
but we were having to pay him a little bit of that $1 an hour wage to be there, and when we could pay him something.
Yeah.
And then Doris and them, she was a cook. I'm thankful for that. I would have expired a long time ago.
Because you don't like to cook much.
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't understand it and hadn't been taught it.
Yeah.
So you learn from being taught
Yeah.
most of our lives.
So was it at Papa's place or was it your next place where you didn't have any water? You had to get a well.
That was at Papa's place.
Is it his place?
That was high time to want to move, but we couldn't have moved on $1 an hour.
$1 an hour?
But no, we had a well, of cold water, good water, and we'd let the bucket down and pull it up, and we had water.
When you went to your next place, you didn't have any water. Because I know you went out there and started digging, didn't you?
Oh, that was when the kids were a little bit older. See,
You moved not far away, wasn't it nearby?
one far. Well, we inherited the land from Papa.
Okay.
See, now they gave us our land. Each kid got a
little
portion.
piece, okay.
And wasn't but 2.5 acres, but it was ours.
Yeah.
And we got a 2-room, not bedroom, 2-room house. And we used, what's the name of that gas that we used, what we put in there? Kerosene stove.
Okay.
Oh, and you'd turn it up and it'd flame up. And you'd turn it down and it'd go out.
You had one choice or the other.
Yeah. Life was hard. You made it because you had no choice.
But tell me about how you didn't have any water and you decided to do something about it.
Well, I was sick of that because I had a 2-year-old that messed in his britches just whenever he wanted to. And you have no bathroom.
I know.
And you have no water.
Cloth diaper.
And cloth diapers. They didn't know what a paper diaper was.
Mm-hmm.
If it had, we wouldn't have used it for a diaper. We would have
Too much
used
money.
it to get a roast or some meat
Yeah.
or something. You didn't spend your money that way.
Not foolishly, no.
No, everybody has cloth diapers. You didn't hear those at all.
So you got sick of washing those out and you didn't even have water good.
So I said, well, Janine, go dig the well. The dirt, the first 6 foot or so of a property can be soft,
Mm-hmm.
In other words, a farm.
Yeah.
And we had moved in a certain area that it was. So I got out there, and you have to get pretty good size around, to get everything down in the well.
Yeah.
Okay, then I started, and I dug, threw the dirt out. Well, I don't know how long it went on, but a good while. But I did it fairly fast and got where I could get out on the handle of the shovel.
You could get out of the hole you were
To
digging.
get out of the hole I dug. And I said, I went to the phone and I called James. I said, James, how deep do you go before you get to water? He said, well, it depends. I know he thought he got a crazy
Crazy question.
that question that he had to answer. He said it just depends on how deep the water is. I said, well, I'm far enough down. I had to get up on the hoe handle to get out of the well.
I'm that
I'm
far.
having the well dug.
Yep. And what happened then?
Well, he got a brother and maybe someone else, I don't recall. And they got out there and they finished digging it and put in the pipe, whatever we needed. And lo and behold, I had water.
I always thought that was a great lesson. You got enough torn up and got it started, then they were willing to come finish it. But it would have been a while for they had started
Well,
it.
they knew it was going to be a lot to it.
Yes.
But they knew after I had dug that deep, they better finish it.
That's right. They better fish that well. Well, I thought that was great. I thought people would want to enjoy hearing that. And like I say, we're going to put a lot more together of these great stories. But I wanted them to see at least some good things we got to come.
Oh, times were hard. Don't listen. The thing in this world now that I tell everybody, I don't want anything that I can't just push a button and get it going.
That's right. And not even too many buttons.
No, because
Not
I
too
get
confusing.
confused.
The center of the buttons.
I want stop and go.
Yeah, I'm about there myself. So, all right, Mom, I love you, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.